those two coaches, the varsity and the JV coach, created a freshman sophomore team just to put me on freshman my sophomore year.
Okay.
And
Can I stop you there? I'm sorry. Let me let you finish because I have an important question that's relative to that. Go ahead.
But I love playing basketball, and there was so much turmoil going on in my house at this time. So this was my escape. Like this was my in the summertime, I would leave my house. This is when we stayed off of 54th and Capitol, and I would start at Deneen. By the time the lights was getting ready to get shut off, I'm running over to Lincoln. At McGov, I would just be at parks all day. And if I'm getting there and I like see somebody in the alley playing, I play with them. Like I just played all day. And so they did it expecting me to quit. And I'm like, I'm about to average 50. And so like I'm playing. And it didn't hurt that a good friend of mine that I went to middle school with, her dad was coaching the team and was like, her dad was coaching the team, and my little cousin was a freshman and she was the point guard. So we was like, oh, we about to cook. And so we get into the practice. That first day of practice, I had two varsity players try to give me their spot. I said, I don't need it. I said, baby, go do you. I got this. It's okay. I'm good. And that's the first thing he said in practice. We all know who ain't supposed to be here. Pass the ball. And that was that. And it was disrespectful, like averaging 40. Cause I should not have been playing against freshmen. And there was a petition. They had parent meetings. My parents weren't involved at all. They honestly didn't really care. Like they came to the game sometimes they didn't. They didn't even know what I was battling. These were other players' parents and community members. The next thing I know, they fired. The whole staff gone. And then next year, they brought in Alina Cunningham. And the funny part about that is I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna go in and be like, hey, that's what happened. I just went to tryouts. And I was killing in tryouts. And she came in, it was her and her JV coach was Coach Fane. And I'm killing and they separate and you're starting to see how they're about to be, okay, come over here, come over here. And I'm seeing them pulling folks over. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she told me the story after the fact. Fane kept trying to situate herself to where she couldn't see me. Because she wanted me on JV, selfishly. And so she said, I looked up, I see niggas out there swatting, doing you over here blocking shots, going close, and they got me over, and I'm on varsity my junior year. She wound up turning our program around. We went from no lie, King, when I first got there, was probably like had 4 wins in a good year, to I think we suffered 2 losses, and those 2 losses were just to Washington that year. And then the senior year was the bane of my existence because I still remember like it was yesterday. Before the last time I got to play Washington, mind you, at this time Washington is undefeated for 10 years in a row. The girls, the Per Golder girls women's team was a powerhouse, and they just were. And it was the matchup of the century. Everybody was there. All the little, remember when we get up in the morning on Saturday and you turned on the TV and it was that one that covered the sports night for high school? They was all there. And you know your boys team plays at the same time you play. I do not know how to this day the varsity boys were able to finish their game, because when I looked up, they were in the stands. Everybody was there. It was packed. Like you can talk about like folks wearing their jerseys now. I mean, no shirts now, talking about everyone watches women's sports. We've been watching women's sports in Milwaukee because we was nice.
Yeah.
We was nice. And when I tell you that was a doggy dog night, and it really went off to the ref. I know they're gonna be like, oh, she's salty. I was like, no, the ref got tired and didn't want to call the last call because the girl traveled. But we wound up going to 2 overtimes, lost by 1 point. And that next morning I had to come back to Washington to take my ACT.